Week 22 of Design Ramen. We're focused on data-driven design. This is going to focus a little bit more on the discovery side. So this would be secondary research in the discovery side. You could also blend this into, or you could blend in some primary research based on what you find. But I think there's a lot of opportunity here. So this would be a little bit more on the innovation side, a little bit more on the discovery side. Maybe you've had someone hand you a question at some point in the past and you need to explore it a bit, better understand where actual challenges are. And, this could be on the side of developing an application for people. It could also be focused on solving for some sort of other problem. So you could focus on solving an environmental challenge, but then bring it back to how would you design something that people could leverage to then approach that environmental challenge. So fairly wide open, but keep your mind open, especially early in the week as you're looking through data sets. Ask really good questions of yourself. Be infinitely curious, and then start to make good observations and give yourself some space around these questions to think through them, have conversations with people, have conversations with yourself, talk to AI, really explore the topic, because it feels like there's so many things in the world that we care about, and if you find something here that you're really passionate about, you may be able to find something really interesting to explore this week, and maybe you'll carry it forward with you. Maybe you'll learn something about yourself. But for day one, find a data set. And what I would encourage you to do here is look through a lot of existing data sets. But don't just pick one. Open one up and look through it. And if it's just not resonating with you, go open another one and try to get through maybe 5 or 6 of them and see if there's anything standing out to you. And if you get to that point and maybe you're not finding something that really resonates with you, pick the one that's the most interesting. But don't get overly committed to the first one unless you open it up and it just really resonates with you. You can pick a small data set or you can make a small data set. So this may require a little bit of work with Google Sheets or Excel. Kaggle's a good resource. Government websites are good resources. The US has a specific website for data sources. You can find information there, but really any advocacy group, any foundation, they'll usually point to some sort of data set that shows how things are going in the world toward those efforts. So there are a lot of organizations that focus on epidemiology or other things that are potentially going wrong, where you can download a data set and look through it. And so in this particular day one exercise, just open it up, set some filters. So in Sheets, you can just turn the entire thing into a filterable table and then use those filters to ask questions and say, well, I wonder if I can see anything if I isolate this particular piece of data or this value in this piece of data. And ask good questions. What does this say about the people involved in that particular ecosystem? So if this has to do with recycling and the finding of microplastics in the oceans, what does that say about the people that are contributing to it and solving for it? If this has to do with how, this is a popular one, and a little more lighthearted, but what is this? What if you're finding data on pet waste disposal in neighborhoods, and what does that say about the people who are picking up the waste, taking care of the waste, the dog owners, the pet owners themselves, so on and so forth? Just ask questions. What does this actually say about the people who exist in this ecosystem, and what are their struggles and what are their needs? What is the data potentially telling me? So create a hypothesis. And the deliverable for day one is really just 3 to 5 annotated insights. They could be questions, they could be curiosities, they could be assumptions. The example here is really specific to an application where mobile users are spending 3x longer on this task. But in the case of, pet waste, it could be, hey, why aren't owners picking up after themselves? Or why are pet owners picking up after themselves but then leaving the bag laying around on the ground? So on and so forth. So on day 2, map user behaviors to possible motivation. So begin connecting the data to user intent or context. Choose 1-2 data points from day 1. Speculate what could explain this behaviors. What might users be trying to do? Write a handful of hypotheses. I was jumping a little bit ahead in day 1, but write a handful of hypotheses and possible jobs to be done related to them. And this could be an opportunity, day 1 and day 2, to jump into AI and have a dialogue. It could be an opportunity to go outside and start talking to people about, if you know folks who are involved in that system, just ask them questions. But your deliverable would be to create a short insight map linking observed data to user motivation. And this doesn't have to be anything very specific, but just illustrate, hey, this is what I'm seeing in the data, and this is how it might connect to user motivation or person motivation. In this case, low engagement with tutorials, users may prefer just-in-time help. So high prevalence of dog waste bags. I'll stop focusing on the subject soon, but the high prevalence of dog waste bags left lying in the grass may maybe you live in a community that has a lot of emergency responders and they get calls in the middle of their dog walks. I don't know. That seems unlikely. Day 3, create a proto-persona or behavioral segment. So synthesize insights into research-oriented user model. Based on the day 2, sketch 1 to 2 proto-personas or behavioral segments. So just starting to describe the people who are in this ecosystem doing this thing. So include their motivations, pain points, relevant behaviors. And this is a little bit of you defining who the users are. And also it's just a little bit of you getting your assumptions down on paper so that you can interrogate them a little bit more. Use data as a lens, not a conclusion. And just create these 1 to 2 persona cards, including the behavioral patterns, but not any demographics, right? So you're going to say, well, I've got this one hypothesis about behavior, and it's built on this particular context, and this is what this context is. So in this example, I have an efficiency seeker. This person hates friction, skips onboarding, acts fast. I created that one in day 2, which was I have an emergency responder who is constantly called away in the middle of things and might lose sight of details they have on their hands in the moment as they do that. Day 4, frame 3 research questions or design opportunities. So take your observations and turn it into design direction or research opportunity. So look through days 1 through 3, right? 2 to 3 research questions you want to explore. They could be qualitative or quantitative. Create 1 to 2 speculative design prompts. What if we did X, Y, and Z? These could be how might we statements, if you like. How might we change the context of this person, or change the context for this person in a world where, and then you add the framing of the challenge. And this deliverable is just a short list of thoughtful next steps for research and design. So in this case, how might we help users resume unfinished tasks? And again, that's missing the in a world where, which I think might be beneficial to add here. How might we help users resume unfinished tasks in a world where they are pressed for time and constantly met with distractions? Day 5, sketch a discovery-driven solution concept. So use your synthesized insights to propose an early solution concept. So in this case, you're not necessarily looking for the perfect solution, but you're just looking for a solution concept. This solution concept, or even if you're going to build into multiple solution concepts, could be uh, included in the get out of the building exercises where you go and hand it to someone and say, here, show me how you would use this. It could be multiple solutions that you put into split testing on a website, or again through in-person discovery. But your objective is to use your synthesized insights to propose early concept solution here. So it's to really take what you've learned and produce this solution. Just go through that exercise and then produce this deliverable of screens, diagrams with your annotation of your rationale for sort of why you made all the decisions that you did. So continue with the example here. This is a lightweight progress-saving feature for drop-off prone workflows, which is a little bit high level. I think you could be a little more specific in yours, but choose a single user insight or problem, or again, just do this once or twice. Sketch a lo-fi concept or flow. Not a lot of need for polish. It's really just to communicate your idea, and include notes on the data insight, the user hypothesis, the intended value. So here you're really bringing a full circle. You're showing how you went from observations in a data set through creating assumptions and hypothesis, and then producing it into sort of a mini case study and a design proposal. And if you wanted to carry it forward again, it could be good to have a few of these that you could then go evaluate and come back with insights. So this was a bit of a wandering through week 22. This is a very conceptual exercise. It's very open-ended. I appreciate your patience as I've gone through this, because this could go many different directions. And it really is 100% based on what you're seeing here in the data set and how you're starting to ask questions and what questions you're starting to ask. So if you're anything like me, this should be a whole lot of fun for you. It could be a little bit challenging if it's your first go around. But as always, reach out in the design chat as you're going through it if you have questions or observations, and we'll work through it together. It should be a lot of fun, and I wish you the best of luck as you go through this.